Good evening, everybody. This is the Reverend here with
The Theme here.
And
Gray Mouse 1.
Thank you for entertaining us again this weekend. It's the three guys just bullshitting about nothing. The three middle-aged guys just bullshitting about nothing. And we're going to report on the Geek Week in Review. Not a lot of things this week, except for a little bit of drama here and there. One thing that just happened yesterday, March 31st, 2016, truly marked the end of the era with the shutdown of Final Fantasy XI servers that service both the PS2 and the Xbox 360 versions of the game. If you think about it, the PS2, when it originally came out, it was back in 2000, I believe, March 4th, 2000 was the release date in Japan. It was October 29th here in the States. All the way up until now, it's been in service as a console officially supported by its first-party publishers and the third-party publishers for a full 16 years, which I think is actually longer than any other console out there. I don't know if there's any other console that's been around that's run anywhere near as long. I know individual games have, but actually, I know Halo 2 was run forever for a long time, but those were people who were setting up their own individual servers and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the longest as far as lifetime goes for platforms. And for a game that pretty much required everything that you could require out of the PS2, you know? Yeah, Final Fantasy XI was one of the few games that required both the network adapter and the hard drive to go ahead and play and handle itself. Its Massive Multiplayer Online environment, and it was really early, and it kind of opened up. It was really kind of like a benchmark that opened up. Okay, this is online play to the masses on console, not on PC. So, what are you guys' thoughts on it?
Well, with me, I also wanted to mention that Final Fantasy XI, that was the first time that Final Fantasy actually went MMO. Most of the time it was, just console, sit on the couch type of game. So that, like you said, it opened up a lot of doors for other MMOs to come, to do their thing as well. And like you said, it's a long time for one game to have the servers open for that long, and a first party supporting it for that long. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, according to what I understand, Final Fantasy XI was first released out in Japan back in May 16th of 2002. So that was 2 years after the pretty much the launch of the PS2 itself. So it's been in service as far as that particular portion of the servers for 14 years. The PC side is still up and running as we know it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so the game isn't completely just a console version of the game. We wanted to be clear here, not that they completely shut down the game. The game is still running as of today on the PC, but they cut the console version of the game.
Yep.
That should tell you a lot about the game itself. See, a lot of people, when they want to buy a new game or when they think about a video game, they think about, it has to be of the times, or it has to be how it looks, or it has to be on a new console. Instead of the game being about fun and how you are connected to the game and how the game just is connected to you. For it to be up for 14 years, especially on a console, is unheard of. Because, you get all of these people that will play these games and then they'll move on within maybe weeks, sometimes months. It's rarely years that people will play a game, especially on a console. But for it to last this long, that's pretty damn impressive. From the PS2, the PS2. I mean, there are a lot of games on a PS3 and on a 360 that didn't even last this long.
Yep.
That are just cut off. There are certain games that, even in this generation, this current one, that people don't even play Yet this game is being played for 14 straight years online. And now they're just cutting down the servers. And I guarantee you, a lot of people were like, no, when the servers finally got cut off. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think one game might come close to it. It's the Monster Hunter series. That's been going on for a while as well as an MMO. I'm not sure if it's as long as, but it's another one that's been on console for a really long time. It's and on various platforms such as the 3DS. I think it was on PlayStation, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it's on PSP.
Yeah.
It's also on PS2. I think it started out as online on PS2.
So that's another MMO that's continuing, and they keep updating it. I think the next one is 6, I think 7, Generation 7. So I mean, if not, Monster Hunter is very close to Final Fantasy. I think. I mean, it's been around for a long time. People are playing it, and it's constantly getting updated.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember Phantasy Star Online for the Dreamcast.
Oh, yeah.
If those servers would still be up, people would still be playing it. And again,
that game is like that game got a lot of people into RPGs. A lot of people into RPGs. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. But like I say, it just goes to show how games are meant to be fun, and that's the reason why they're being played. And hell, it doesn't have to be the graphics of today. It doesn't have to be, oh my God, it has to, be a brand new game. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It's just that, hey, these games are fun. These games are still being played, especially by multiple groups of people. They just shut down the servers, and it's like, man. I mean, and you guys' opinion. Do you think that games of this generation will last that long? Do you even think these consoles will last that long?
Well, I don't think the consoles will last that long. The thing about it is that it's not just a testament to the game itself. It's also a testament to the community who actually stuck with the game.
I was going to say the same thing. It's a testament to the time. Absolutely.
No, not to the time, but to the community. The community, themselves.
Well, I mean,
stuck with the game.
I mean, I'm talking about like the graphics. Playing it for the game is actually fun. Now it's all about 4K gaming. I got to have my sparkling graphics. I mean, back in those days.
Let's be honest. That's always been the case with games,
and it will be, and it will forever be the case.
Always been the case with games, and
that comes with the times. That comes with the times.
If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have new generations.
People thought Pong back in the day was wow.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better than this. How the hell are we?
I mean, and the thing about it is that it's a testament, like I said, it's a testament to the community and the lasting power and the marketability of Final Fantasy as a whole. Because the thing is that as far as MMORPGs go, if you're gonna sit there and you're gonna throw a few of them out there, when you're talking about long-lasting MMORPGs, there's World of Warcraft, all right. And if you're somebody who's around our age and you remember the EverQuest, remember the Calls of Azeroth, remember the other ones that were out there, Ultimate Online when it was a thing, nothing has had the same type of staying power. All right.
I want to throw another one out. The Guild Wars. I mean, that's been around for a long time as well.
Well, the funny thing about Guild Wars is that it was an MMO that wasn't an MMO.
It wasn't. Yeah,
that's what everybody caught on because there was no subscription fee. You just pay for the game, and then there you go. You have. I mean, of course, you're going to have to pay for the expansions, but I mean, the King of Kings is WoW, World of Warcraft. With a subscription fee, $15 every month. I mean, come on, people were paying that. We're talking about millions, 5 million. I think he got up to. How high? About 13, 15 million subscribers at one time?
I think more than that.
Or maybe it was 50 million, I think. I'm sorry, I cut it way off.
Yeah, it was much more than that because the thing is that a large part of the user base of WoW is in China. So,
Korea.
Yeah, that accounts for a lot of people. It accounts for a third of the Earth almost. So,
The main thing is that this lasted this long on a console. After the life of the console was over.
After 2 generations, it's 2 generations ago.
Yeah, PS2 has been over for a while. Well, maybe except a sports game here and there.
Well,
But-
it was fully discontinued back in 2012, I believe, in Japan, and then worldwide it was discontinued in January 4th, 2013. At the end of everything, they say that the estimated total of PS2s sold worldwide was around 155 million units
Yep.
altogether.
The best-selling console of all time.
Yeah, and the thing is that it had a lot of things going for it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Especially if you're an RPG lover,
yeah,
that system was RPG king. I mean,
Yeah.
Funny because most people bought it in Japan specifically because it was a DVD player out of the box.
yeah,
yeah. It was a decent price. It wasn't, it was cheaper.
Compared to how DVD players were.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's cheaper
Wait
to
a
buy a
minute.
game system that plays games
And the
than
games
buying a DVD player by itself.
I mean, despite the shaky launch that it had, because it only had like 3 or 4 games at launch, I don't think it really had any A+ or stellar games right at launch. Gran Turismo didn't even come out until like a month or 2 later, and that was like.
But that's still considered launch time. I mean, I give 6 months for launch titles.
Yeah, but that the
I remember a magazine said that Ninja Gaiden was going to be going on a PlayStation 2. Still
Yeah.
waiting for that.
Yeah, I also remember how they said that people in the Middle East were buying up PS2s to go ahead and use the cell processors for targeting technology for surface-to-air missile launch system.
BS.
Yeah, they're going to use their PS2 controllers to launch off Scud missiles.
That was back when, oh God, I remember that. I remember that all over the news.
Yeah, it was funny.
But I mean, PlayStation 2 deserves a spot. In fact, I think PlayStation 2 is if you talk to most gamers our age, it's one of their favorite systems. Everybody had one. It was just one. Mostly everybody had one.
Shit, I had 4 at one time.
I mean, there's some just great titles. It's just wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great system, and in the midst of all of our current talks of upgradable systems and VR and everything else, the thing about it is that you have to look back on history and the old faithful conventions, and the PS2, even though it wasn't a revolutionary console, at least not as revolutionary as the PS1 was. It was one of those staple consoles that was like, yes, there's a reason why people embrace this as a form of entertainment.
Well, there was a lot of things that the PlayStation 2 got right. For one, if you were transitioning from the first PlayStation to this PlayStation 2, the control, the same. There was no change there. So
backwards compatibility with controllers, memory cards,
yeah. We're done here. It was just like, whoa, okay, so I can carry on this shit. And with games.
Yep.
It was backwards compatible with the PlayStation, with the first PlayStation. So it was like, whoa, I get all this shit plus a new fucking console.
I can use the old library. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it was definitely great. And the thing was is that, whether or not it was the least, it had the least horsepower out of the 6th generation of consoles, the Dreamcast would have been a little bit underneath it, but between it, the GameCube, and the Xbox, it definitely was like had the least horsepower. But it had.
Well, that's because those other 2 systems came out later.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the system is that it had the most games. It had the biggest third-party support.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
And the first-party support was stellar for it also.
Nintendo, you have to remember that.
Yeah.
Please remember that. First party and third, please.
Well, the thing about Nintendo is that they still haven't fought off the stigma that they've gotten with third-party publishers that they garnered all the way through the NES and all the way through the not only the Super Nintendo but also the Nintendo 64. You know, uh, that's a lot of years and a lot of money that third-party developers have had to and publishers have had to deal with. That they're still trying to shake off in order to go ahead and actually develop things for their systems. They're fine with the portables because guess what? The portable development is actually really low ticket in comparison to their.
Nobody can touch them in portable.
No.
I'm sorry.
Not
Phones
only
are
that,
trying, tablets are trying.
not only that, but the thing is that the cost of developing a game for a 3DS is a fraction of the cost to develop it for the Wii before it and also the Wii U.
Oh yeah.
The NX is, if it's going to be running specs that if they say it's more powerful than the current PS4, which means it's more like a PS4K, all right, then if you think about the development costs at scale that go along with that sort of horsepower, creating a AAA title, then yeah, people are going to have to fully invest, But back to the PS2, Final Fantasy 11. Great games. They drive systems. They drive sales and everything.
Well, I mean, back to Final Fantasy. I mean, look, how many Final Fantasies were on the PlayStation 2?
There's
There's
10, 10-2, 12.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here, not 13. Yeah, and then they've
I
got
think 9 was too. What? 9 was on the PlayStation.
9 was PlayStation.
Was
That
it
was-
PlayStation?
7, 8, 9 was for the first PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, it's also obviously a really, really popular franchise. It's a little funny how many sequels have come out. I mean, I've gone around to actually calling it Final Oxymoron now. Because there's nothing final about these games.
It's pretty daunting, actually, if you really think about it. I mean, there's 15 of them, and that's just serial. We're not talking about the off stories and all that stuff with a DS.
Tactics and Chocobo Dungeon or Chocobo Racing or any of that.
Rings of Fate, all that. Yeah. There's
Crystal Chronicles or anything else.
Yeah.
The
Final Fantasy Legends, Adventure. I mean, come on, man.
No. All right. Speaking of Final Fantasy 15, earlier this week we went ahead and we got new demos or updated demos and also new trailers for Final Fantasy 15, along with a release date. The official release date for North America is September 30th of this year, September 30th, 2016. So you get the ability to play the 15th installment of this particular series right here. And yes, this is the first one.
Yes.
In a protective display case. So, yeah.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
In the box, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's got the instructions and everything. So,
Yes.
thank you, John Marr, my buddy Darth Gringo, for this. All right. Yeah, but Final Fantasy 15, guys, thoughts on it? I have my thoughts on it, but I'll let you guys shoot it out first.
Well, with me, I played the demo. I enjoyed it. It has a different. I don't know. It's different. It definitely is. It took a page out of what's that game? Help me here.
Kingdom Hearts?
Huh? Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, and then also there was another one, Final Fantasy, that just came out. I think on it's like a remake of the PSP version.
What, you're talking about Type 0?
Yeah, there you go, Type 0. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's kind of the battle system's kind of a cross of that. I mean, your weapons form in your hands when you go into battle. You don't pull it out or whatever. And then the level up system's a little different. You don't level up. I mean, you gain experience during the day, then you have to camp at night and you get food, and you could level up and do all that at a campsite at night. So it's a little different, and it's like a bromance, if you ask me. It's 4 guys, going across country to whatever. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. We have a prince, trying to trying to help his kingdom out, for the warring. Of course, warring kingdoms, typical subplot of Final Fantasy, or any RPG for that matter. But I'm ecstatic because I do like some of the mechanics in it. The warp mechanic is very interesting. So, with that, other than that, I mean, the character models not the character models, the enemy models are very interesting. They're different. If you've done the demo, you actually seen the behemoth. It's huge. I mean, they really outdid themselves with that, and I really enjoyed that part of the game. So I highly recommend you play the demo and the updated demo. It's still available on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, I believe. So take the time and go play it if you're even remotely interested in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
See, the thing about the gameplay, there's going to be positive and negative reviews about the gameplay. It's going to be like that for each and every Final Fantasy because people are going to be so stuck on what they're used to. They're going to be like, oh, this is missing. Why isn't it like this and stuff like that? Just play the game. What many people are worried about is story, as far as the continuity that it's going to follow.
Well, Square Enix has
with the story here, as far as saying, God damn it, I didn't play this to see.
Yeah. Well, Square Enix has always been tight-lipped on the story up
as they should be,
up until the point of the release of the game.
Well,
of course, they felt, I enjoyed Final Fantasy 13. A lot of people didn't. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either. So I'm kind of indifferent on that.
What was the worst, in your opinion?
My opinion? I would say Final Fantasy 1. It's terrible. It didn't really age very well. If you really go back and play it again, it's kind of like...
that was supposed to be the Final Fantasy.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, the reason why the name is Final Fantasy is because that was their last hoo-ha before they went bankrupt. And it just happened to be a one-hit wonder.
Favor, yeah.
If you didn't know the history about Final Fantasy. But, I enjoyed Final Fantasy 13, but I didn't like too much the X2 or the Final Fantasy 13-2 or Lightning Returns. It kind of gave Lightning kind of turned Final Fantasy into a platformer. And that's what I'm kind of concerned about 15 as well, because it kind of looks like they adding some platform elements in there a little bit. So we'll see. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just about done because, like I said, story is going to matter because sometimes story will make or break the game.
Absolutely.
But the thing about it is control and features and what they're going to have and what people are used to that they took away. People are going to hear that. People are going to actually voice that opinion all up and down. That's going to happen. You can't satisfy everybody as far as it because either it's going to be too much of the same or it's just going to be too fucking different.
I don't think it's, just by playing the demo, in my opinion, I don't think it's too far removed from the high fantasy that Final Fantasy is in. They're not walking around with cell phones, I don't think. As far as the parts that I've seen. I don't know if they...
No, they're
not seeing an iPad on a Final Fantasy game.
They're just rolling around in a convertible sedan like...
But I was going to say...
I don't know, freaking, what is it?
Yeah, the car.
Yeah, no, there was a movie that was like, oh yeah, Kurt Russell and Tu Wong Fu, I Love You.
Yeah, oh my God, dude.
All right,
well,
except with the cop running around.
The creative director, he said that it's kind of this Final Fantasy is going to kind of be in the modern world type Final Fantasy. I mean, Final Fantasy 8 was kind of that way. Final Fantasy 8 was kind of in the modern world a little bit, but I don't know how far. I mean, you're driving a freaking car, dude. So I don't know how far they're going to push it. I really don't. We don't know until we have it in our hands.
Yeah, I mean, I can say all sorts of snide things, and believe me, I'm thinking up all sorts of snide things.
Don't hold back, man.
Don't
hurt my feelings.
The whole thing with like Final Fantasy is that I would need to spend some time with my hands on it. Okay. Because I just to tell you the truth, I wasn't thrilled with Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy.
I was right there watching you play it. I remember.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 12 was
very linear.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 12 was a grand experiment and it kind of ended up being like the big testing grounds for their current MMOs right now with Final Fantasy XIV.
I think
when I first saw the demo gameplay of Final Fantasy 15, it reminded me a lot of Parasite Eve Third Birthday on the PS. I have that game. I wanted to love it because it was like, hey, look, brand new Parasite Eve after what, 15 fucking years or something like that. And the game was fucking horrible. All right. I mean, I tried to like it too.
I mean, we could probably do another later time discussion about, the Final Fantasies, and because that's a discussion on its own.
Yeah.
But it really is, because everybody has their own opinions. You know what I mean?
My thing with Final Fantasy 15 is that if I get around to playing it, all right, just like with all of the Final Fantasies, it's really driven by the story and everything else, all right? Which, another reason why I didn't like Final Fantasy 13, the story was crap, all right? I'm sorry, if the only character that I like out of your whole motley crew of characters, okay, the heroes of civilization in the whole fucking world, all right, the only dude I like is the nigga running around with a chocobo in his fro.
Gaza?
Yeah, really? All right.
Yeah, I mean, because Hope was a bitch. It's just straight up. I hated. I wanted to wring his fucking neck sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You're a whiny little bitch.
No, all of them had issues. All right, all of them had really, really bad issues. The only one that I didn't spend enough time with to sit there and get to hating was Fang. All right, but that's because she's the last person you get anyways before you end up in the 13th fucking chapter where everybody says, oh, by that time you play 30 hours and the skies will open up and so will the ground. Flowers and angels will fall and flowers will rise up.
The game gets good 20 hours in.
Yeah, and the monsters going around will stop to give you blowjobs and everything will magically change.
What type of...
All right.
I don't understand. What type of advertising is that? Well, the game gets good 20 hours in.
I'd be able to finish multiple games.
There was just no build up. It was like, how most games build you up. It was just it was like a plateau.
Yeah, it's like
there was no build up.
Some of the substance was just forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is that, okay, I don't know any of the backstories on any of the characters in Final Fantasy 15, but at least make some of them relatable. Okay, you don't need to sit there and stereotype them all in, all right, like color-coded Super Sentai, fucking characters or like that or anything. Just make some of them kind of normal and relatable, and I'll be fine with that, okay?
What I thought was pretty impressive.
Fucking understand, Yeah. I'm, like I said, it's going to depend on the story and everything else, and I'm completely fine with that. As long as, they don't end up all driving that car off of a cliff, holding hands like fucking Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
I'll be cool,
No!
No, I mean, Final Fantasy 15, I mean, the summons are pretty interesting. They're not just a little guy standing there. There's a huge mountain of a character. So hopefully there's some development.
They've been like that ever since Final Fantasy VI, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, excuse me. Since Final Fantasy IV, when they first introduced them. All right. All I want to know is, can you skip the animations, or do you have to wait the full 5 fucking minutes for it to play out every time you do a summon?
This is not Final Fantasy VII. The Knights of the Round Table, that was one of the. Oh my God, they should have put a cut. That was too long. And especially when you cast Mimic, and you get to watch it like 3 times. Oh my God, man.
So, I mean, we'll get to Final Fantasy VII when we get there. Any final thoughts on it though, fellas? Because I think we've covered everything.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we did. But wow, servers finally shutting down after 14 years. Man,
it's impressive.
Years of fucking service on a console. That is phenomenal. All right.
Yes.
Sony, Microsoft, give me half of that. I'll be fucking happy. All right.
Exactly.
In fact, give me a fucking third of that, and I'll be happy.
And to answer real quick, to answer what the theme was talking about earlier about the console generation, I give it 5 years, if that, because they were pretty upfront at the beginning of the 8th generation, saying that this generation will not be as long as the 7th generation was. I mean, they went out and said it. So 5 years. I mean, so I don't think we'll ever see anything that Final Fantasy XI has accomplished ever again.
Hmm.
It's just the way that times are nowadays, you know.
Technology is moving way too fast for them to sit still on one product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when VR's coming in on the horizon.
Not only that, but that's technology moving so fast is the only thing that's actually going to make any of the planned mid-generation refreshes actually possible.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things we're going to have to deal with, unfortunately.
Right.
That digital-only media.
We've already covered that, and we'll probably talk about it again in another video. Yeah, you know, that said, thank you everybody who's watching the video for sticking with us for this long. We really appreciate it. We'd really appreciate it if you went ahead, hit the subscribe button, leave your comments. You know, what are your thoughts on Final Fantasy? You got any good PS2 memories? You know, go ahead, tell us what you think. All right, was there something that we missed? Comments are open below. All right,
They're always open.
Always open.
Always open. So is the rating of the video. Always open.
all right, just like a Denny's restaurant. Okay, 24/7. All right. With that, I'm the Reverend.
This is the theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Credits.